The lights hit me like a freight train as I snatched the microphone and yelled into the stunned silence. The wedding is off. I can't marry her because I love him. Chaos erupted instantly. Reporters surged forward, phones held high like weapons, and the room filled with gasps and shouts. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. This was it, the moment I dreaded and dreamed of for years. No one back now. Selena stood 3 feet away in her custom gown, her perfectly painted smile cracking into something raw and disbelieving. Jamie, my Jamie, sat at the side table where I'd begged him to stay hidden until this exact second, his eyes wide but steady, the only anchor in the storm. Security tried to push the crowd back, but the damage was done. Twitter, sorry X, was already blowing up. I could feel the notifications vibrating in my pocket like a swarm of angry bees. In 3 seconds, the world knew what I had hidden for 4 years, and I had never felt more alive or more terrified. I dropped the mic. It clattered across the stage like a final period on the lie I'd been living. My agent, Marcus, was already rushing toward me, face purple, whispering threats I couldn't hear over the roar. I didn't care. I turned, grabbed Jamie's hand right there in front of every camera in Los Angeles, and pulled him into the light. His fingers were warm, familiar, the same ones that had traced the scars on my soul for months while I pretended to plan a future with someone else. Selena's publicist swooped in, guiding her offstage with practiced efficiency, but not before she shot me a look that said we would talk later, whether I wanted to or not. The ballroom of the Beverly Hilton, chosen for our dream engagement party, had become ground zero for the biggest Hollywood scandal since the last one. I could already see the headlines forming. America's sweetheart actor is gay. Pop princess heartbroken. Secret boyfriend steals the spotlight. We slipped out a side door before security could form a wall. Jamie's beat-up Jeep was parked in the employee lot exactly where we'd planned. I slid into the passenger seat, still in my tux, bow tie hanging loose like a noose I'd finally kicked off. Drive, I said. He didn't ask where. We just drove, windows down, Los Angeles wind whipping my hair, while my phone exploded with calls from my mother in Ohio, my sister in New York, and every entertainment blog in the country. I turned it off. For the first time in years, the noise in my head went quiet. Only Jamie's hand on my knee and the distant siren of paparazzi motorcycles chasing us kept me tethered to reality. By the time we reached his tiny apartment in Silver Lake, the sun was coming up. We sat on the fire escape, drinking cheap coffee, watching the city wake up like it hadn't just been flipped upside down. "You sure about this?" he asked, voice soft. I laughed, the sound shaky. Too late now. But inside I wasn't laughing. I was remembering the night 2 years ago when I met Selena at a charity gala. Marcus had pushed us together for optics. She was funny, ambitious, and genuinely kind. The fake dates turned into real friendship, and when the engagement ring appeared on my finger at the Met Gala, it felt like the easiest lie in the world. My career skyrocketed. Hers too. Everyone won. Except me and the man I actually loved. Jamie had been my best friend first, then everything. We met on the set of my first indie film. Him, the quiet script supervisor who noticed I drank my coffee black with 2 sugars. Late-night rewrites turned into late-night confessions. He never pushed. He just waited until I was ready to stop hiding. And tonight I finally was. But ready didn't mean prepared for the fallout. The next morning the world was on fire, and I was the match. Every major outlet had the video. TMZ, Page 6, Variety, even the BBC. My face, mid-confession, eyes wild, was plastered everywhere. Hashtags trended worldwide. Alex Rivera is gay, Selena heartbreak, Jamie Thompson mystery man. Fans split into camps, some cheering me as a hero, others calling me a liar who used Selena for clout. My inbox overflowed with death threats and marriage proposals in equal measure. I sat on Jamie's couch in yesterday's tux, scrolling until my eyes burned. Marcus left 17 voicemails, each one angrier than the last. "You just killed your own career, kid. Call me when you're ready to fix this." I deleted them all. Jamie made pancakes like it was any Sunday. He didn't ask questions, just slid the plate across and kissed the top of my head. That small gesture grounded me more than any apology could. We spent the day in a bubble, ignoring the outside until my mother finally got through on the landline. Her voice cracked over the speaker. "Alexander, what on earth were you thinking? Your father is in the hospital again." The stress. I hung up before she could finish. The guilt hit like a truck, but so did the relief. No more Sunday calls pretending I was bringing Selena home for Thanksgiving. No more carefully worded interviews about the right girl. Selena texted at noon. Not angry, just tired. "Coffee tomorrow?" Neutral ground. "We need to talk without cameras." I stared at the message for 10 minutes before replying yes. Jamie watched me. No jealousy, just quiet understanding. That night we lay in his bed, city lights painting stripes across the ceiling, and I told him everything I'd been too scared to say before. How I'd almost proposed to Selena for real, because it was easier than coming out to my conservative Ohio family. How I cried in my trailer the day the engagement went public. He listened, fingers tracing circles on my chest, and whispered, "You're free now?" That's all that matters. But freedom came with price tags. By Monday, my agent dropped me. The lead in the big superhero franchise gone. My publicist quit via email. Even my favorite diner in West Hollywood had paparazzi camped outside. Jamie lost his script supervisor gig on the next film because the director didn't want drama. We laughed about it over cheap Thai food, but the laughter tasted bitter. I started writing again for the first time since college. Raw, messy journal entries that felt like exhaling after years underwater. Jamie read every page without judgment. That was when I realized love wasn't the grand announcement on stage. It was the quiet mornings where someone stayed even when the world walked away. The coffee meeting with Selena happened at a tiny place in Echo Park where nobody recognized us at first. She showed up in sunglasses and a hoodie, looking smaller than the pop icon the world worshipped. We sat in the back booth. She stirred her latte for a long minute before speaking. "I'm not mad about the gay part, Alex. I'm mad you didn't trust me enough to tell me before we picked out wedding china." Her voice broke on the last word, and I felt like the worst human alive. I explained the fear, the contracts, the image machine that had swallowed us both. She nodded slowly. "I knew something was off. You never looked at me the way you looked at him on that stage." We talked for 2 hours about the fake dates that became real laughs, the pressure from labels and studios, the way fame twists everything. She didn't forgive me completely, but she didn't hate me either. "I'm issuing a statement supporting you," she said as we stood to leave. "Not because I have to, because I want to." We hugged awkwardly. Two people who had almost built a life on lies and were now choosing truth separately. The statement dropped that afternoon and softened some of the hate online. Not all of it. My father called that night, voice cold. "We raised you better than this. Don't come home." Click. The words carved themselves into my ribs. Jamie held me while I cried for the boy from Ohio who once believed love had to look a certain way to be real. My sister texted later, "Dad's wrong. I love you. Send pictures of the boyfriend." Small mercies. Marcus tried one last Hail Mary, offering to spin the story as a phase if I took it all back. I blocked his number. Instead, I signed with a tiny agency that specialized in queer artists. They got me an audition for an indie film about a gay teacher fighting for his job. The director, a no-nonsense woman from Brooklyn, told me, "We want you because of what you did on that stage, not in spite of it." For the first time in months, I felt seen for the right reasons. Jamie and I started going on real dates, hikes in Griffith Park, late movies in Pasadena where nobody cared who we were. He introduced me to his chosen family, a group of queer artists who threw potlucks and argued about books until sunrise. I had never had that. My old circle was all red carpets and NDAs. Slowly, the panic attacks that had plagued me since the announcement grew quieter. Therapy helped too. My new therapist didn't flinch when I said I was terrified of losing everything I'd worked for. She just asked, "What if everything you lost was never yours to begin with?" The indie film wrapped in Vancouver, and the buzz was good. Critics called my performance raw and revolutionary. Offers trickled back in, smaller but honest. Jamie finished his first screenplay, a love story inspired by us. We celebrated with cheap champagne on the roof of his building, city lights glittering like the future I was finally brave enough to imagine. Then the betrayal hit. An old assistant of Marcus leaked private texts I'd sent during the engagement. Messages where I'd confess my feelings for Jamie while still posting couple photos with Selena. The texts went viral overnight. Suddenly, the narrative flipped again. Alex Rivera used Selena as a beard for years. Death threats doubled. Sponsors dropped the film. Even some of Jamie's friends distanced themselves, worried about the spotlight. I sat on a bathroom floor at 3 a.m., phone in my lap, convinced I'd ruined the one good thing I had left. Jamie found me there. He didn't yell or leave. He sat beside me on the cold tile and said, "They can have the story. They don't get us." We stayed like that until sunrise. That was the moment I understood sacrifice wasn't dramatic gestures on stages. It was choosing each other when the world offered every reason not to. I issued my own statement. Honest, no spin. I admitted the lies, apologized to Selena again publicly, and thanked Jamie for teaching me what love actually looked like. The response was mixed, but something shifted. Fans started sharing their own coming-out stories under the hashtag #MyStageMoment. Selena retweeted one with a heart emoji. My sister flew out from New York and met Jamie over tacos. "He's good for you," she whispered when he stepped away. My mother still wasn't speaking, but she sent a care package, my favorite Ohio cookies, and a note that just said, "I'm trying." The low point came when the indie film's distributor hesitated to release it wide. They worried about family values markets. I flew to New York to meet the CEO, Jamie beside me the whole time. I didn't beg. I simply said, "This story matters because people like me are still hiding in plain sight." They released it anyway. Opening weekend, it made modest money, but the reviews were glowing. One critic wrote, "Alex Rivera isn't acting anymore. He's living." Months blurred. I turned 30 on a quiet beach in Malibu with only Jamie, my sister, and a few new friends. No paparazzi, no stage photos. Just bonfire and cheap beer and the sound of waves. Jamie gave me a simple silver ring. Not an engagement, just a promise. "Whenever you're ready," he said. I slipped it on and kissed him under the stars, the same stars that had watched me blow up my old life. My father had a heart attack that winter. I flew home to Ohio against everyone's advice. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and regret. He was pale in the bed, monitors beeping. My mother stood guard, arms crossed. I sat down and told him the truth I'd never said aloud in that house. "I'm gay, Dad. And I'm happy. I hope one day you can be happy for me too." He didn't answer, but he didn't tell me to leave either. Small steps. Back in Los Angeles, the offers grew. A streaming series wanted me as the lead. A gay detective in a procedural with a male love interest written in from day one. I took it. Jamie got hired as a staff writer on the same show. We worked side by side, stealing kisses in the writer's room when no one was looking. The set felt like family in a way my blood family never had. Then came the misunderstanding that almost broke us. A tabloid printed a blurry photo of me having lunch with an old male co-star from years ago. The headline screamed, "Alex back to old habits." Jamie saw it first and didn't say anything for 2 days. When I finally cornered him, he admitted he'd been scared I'd get tired of the normal life we'd built. "You were a star before me," he said quietly. "What if the spotlight pulls you back?" I took his face in my hands and promised, "The spotlight never loved me. You do." We talked until the fear dissolved. Trust, I was learning, was harder than coming out. The series premiered to massive numbers. My character's coming out episode trended for weeks. Fans sent letters. Teenagers who felt seen, parents were learning. One night, after a long shoot, I found Jamie on the balcony staring at the city. "Marry me," I said without planning. He turned, eyes shining. Yes. No stage, no cameras, just us and the quiet yes that mattered most. We kept the wedding small, backyard in Silver Lake with string lights, and our chosen people. Selena came, hugging me tight and whispering, "I'm proud of you." My sister was maid of honor. My mother surprised us by showing up the day before, eyes red but determined. "Your father's not ready yet," she said, "but I am." She danced with Jamie at the reception like he'd always been family. The final piece fell into place 6 months later. My father sent a card. No words, just a photo of the two of us from when I was 10, playing catch in the backyard. On the back he'd written, "Proud of the man you became." I cried in Jamie's arms for a long time. Healing wasn't loud. It was a quiet card in the slow thawing of old ice. Today I stand on another stage, this time accepting an award for the role that changed everything. The room is full of industry people who once wrote me off. I look out at the crowd and see Jamie in the front row, smiling the same steady smile that saved me. I don't give the speech everyone expects. I say, thank you to the man who taught me that the bravest thing I ever did wasn't coming out. It was coming home to myself. The applause is genuine this time. Later, driving home with the trophy in the back seat, Jamie's hand in mine, I realized the journey wasn't about the scandal or the internet or even the career. It was about the boy from Ohio learning he deserved to love openly. The misunderstandings, the betrayals, the sacrifices, they all led here to a life that feels like truth instead of performance. In this story, authenticity isn't a grand announcement on stage. It's the thousand small choices afterward to keep choosing love when fear whispers easier paths. The lesson I carry is simple. Hiding might protect you for a while, but only truth sets you free to become who you were always meant to be. My advice, if anyone's listening, stop waiting for permission. The world may explode when you speak your truth, but on the other side of the blast, you'll find people who stay, and the person you were always meant to love. Life is too short for anything less.